Together we'll return to the moon.
This is too funny. Out of context, this would be hilarious. Together we'll return to the moon.
Moon together. We choose to return to the moon together.
We choose to return to the moon together.
Together we'll return to the moon.
Together we'll return to the moon.
And from there, we look forward to Mars and to the limitless possibilities that lie beyond. And here on Earth,
This literally sounds unhinged. Like, out of context, this is unhinged. And the limitless possibilities. It's a wonderful day in the homiehood. A wonderful day for a homie. Won't you be my homie to Taro? Hold on to your boots, because it's going to be really, really exciting. And it's about 1 hour long. So we're going to watch it through and through, just because we like to watch the raw material, you know? Rawmaterial.com, aka CPAC. Not the American CPAC. This is the Canadian CPAC, the only CPAC that matters. All right, let's hope they got good volume. They got good tech here in the House of Commons. They're probably going to do some weird traditional things. Wear some weird outfits and stuff. So let's see. My homie Tutaro, raw dog in the news. That is correct. Good morning, Bunny Rabbit. Joe, aka Brandon. Is this as good quality we're gonna get? Okay, we're boosting this all the way up to 720p. I don't know why they don't release these in HD. I want to see every rankle on Brandon's forehead. Joe Biden, he's already he already looks like he's like getting high off the opioids. Like, look at him right here. Oh, oh, hello. All right, we make sure we got the subtitles on. We are ready to watch. He just has. Whoa, what's happening with the audio here? Jesus. Come on. Unfortunately, the thing about Joe Biden is that he is like a likable man. You know, like, I obviously hate Joe Biden and everything he stands for, but he's very likable. It's hard to see him just like look like a buffoon and have that childish expression on his face and like think that he's not likable. You'd have an ice cream with Uncle Joe. He does just give off that vibe, right? Get ready for JT to repeat. National security is economic security and climate security. Okay, I'm ready. Quiet. Everyone quiet. Everyone quiet. We're listening. Put your hands in your lap. Cross your legs. We're going to be intent listeners. He's charismatic. He
Mr.
kind of
President,
is.
Dr. Biden, welcome to Canada in the House of Commons.
Welcome. Welcome.
Monsieur le Premier Ministre.
Prime Minister, Speaker Fury,
All right. We got
ladies and gentlemen,
translations.
party leaders, members of parliament,
Everybody
Your
buckle in,
Excellencies,
okay?
guests.
It's gonna
Allow me
probably
to
start off
welcome you
really
to
boring.
This very special event.
On behalf of my colleagues, we are honored by your visit. As we come together under one roof, we take a moment to celebrate the friendship and the shared values of our countries. We celebrate our people and the history of cooperation between Canada and the United States. A prime example of this cooperation.
No. If I see any silly comments in chat, you will be banned permanently for life. However, if you do make baked silly comments, those are allowed.
Can be seen in my hometown, North Bay, in the riding of Nipissing-Temiskaming, where Canadian and American military personnel work side by side at NORAD to ensure our safety by patrolling the skies of North America.
Like the volume is low. Why?
NORAD
I'd have ice cream with pretty much anybody. Yeah, exactly. It has nothing to do with who they are. I just like ice
is
cream, all
proof
right?
that when Canadians and Americans venture to undertake a mission together, we accomplish great things. But more importantly, our great friendship grows. This visit reminds us all that we must never take our friendship, this cooperation, these shared values for granted. Permettez-moi maintenant.
I would now like to invite the Right Honourable Prime Minister to say a few words.
Dustin.
Prime Minister.
God damn. Why'd they mic the clapping like this?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today,
Thank you.
we welcome to our Parliament the 46th President of the United States of America, President Joseph R. Biden, Jr. Mr. President,
I didn't realize it's Biden Jr.
you are a true friend to Canada, and that matters more than ever in this consequential moment. Make no mistake, these are serious times. When the consequences of a warming planet are intersecting with
Is that really what the R stands for? Robinette?
the aftermath of a global pandemic, when an unjustifiable war in Europe has shocked
Wow.
the conscience of the world and
Joseph,
exposed the vulnerability
Robinette,
of energy
Brandon.
markets and supply chains, when families are facing the pressures of inflation and struggling with affordability, when citizens around the world feel anxious about their future and their kids' futures. Mr.
When are we gonna get a Dark Justin arc for real? Like Trudeau here is just like, allow me to take this historical moment to make the same 5 talking points I repeat every day.
President, as it should be, our two nations stand united in this moment, finding solutions side by side.
That's true. The beard. I liked the beard.
On va
Bring
continue-
back the beard.
We will continue to work together to create jobs and to build economies and societies that are healthier and more sustainable. The economy, the environment, and security are interwoven. And that has never been more clear.
It has never been more clear that everything
There's already like Americans watching on YouTube in the future who are just like, what the hell? This is so boring.
is interwoven. Economic policy is climate policy, is security policy.
We are gonna, I
People
think,
need us
turn
to
it
think
up here a little bit.
strategically and act with urgency. And that is exactly what brings us together today. Mr. President, throughout our history, Canada and the United States, as friends and allies, have faced many challenges together. Pandemics, recessions, wars. Here in this House in September 1939, members of Parliament debated going to war. A few years later, Canadian and American soldiers were fighting against fascism shoulder to shoulder.
And now we're still fighting against fascism just at home.
There are battlefields around the world where our soldiers lie in cemeteries, shoulder to shoulder. War has now returned to Europe. As you well know, Mr. President, Canada will continue to stand strong with Ukraine with whatever it takes.
We do know this.
Together, both of us are partners that Ukraine and the world can count on. Since Putin launched his brutal invasion, like you, Canada has provided significant military support, in our case, artillery, ammunition, armor, and tanks. From 2015 to today,
What is the volume getting worse? What is going on? I already turned it up and now it's like it's gone back down. What is going on, CPAC?
with Operation Unifier, The Canadian Armed Forces train the brave members of the Ukrainian military, about 35,000 of them and counting. With partners and allies, we've both used sanctions and punitive economic measures to continue to deplete the Kremlin's war chest. After a terrifying spring, a violent summer and fall, and an exhausting winter, Ukraine still stands.
I'm gonna crank the volume and then they're gonna clap. And then it's gonna be like a wave.
Il y a un an, notre ami
1 year ago, our friend President Zelensky addressed this chamber to thank us for having supported him from the beginning. Today, Mr. President, together, we reiterate that message for President Zelensky and all Ukrainians. We remain at your side. It is by defending democracy and the rules-based international order that we will ensure the safety and security of Canadians and Americans.
My oncologist, when I was going through cancer, his name was very close, but it was not Zelensky, and I kept referring to him as Dr. Zelensky. I just couldn't get it out of my head. It's kind of embarrassing.
Vladimir Putin has underestimated the resolve of Europe and NATO allies. He has underestimated the strength and the courage of Ukrainians and their will to defend their language, their culture, and their homeland.
Mr. President, today I want to introduce you to Natalia, who I met just last week. Natalia arrived in Canada from Ukraine more than 10 years ago. Give us a wave, Natalia. Yes, thank you.
I'm worried she's gonna like Sig Heil in a moment, but hopefully not.
She arrived in Canada from Ukraine more than 10 years ago. She's safe here with her family, but she still has a lot of loved ones in Ukraine. Every time she hangs up after speaking with a cousin or a friend, she feels a twinge in her heart, wondering if this conversation might be their last. Mr. President, we cannot and will not let Natalia's loved ones down. The Ukrainian people are counting on us. We must stand shoulder to shoulder with Ukraine with as much as it takes, as long as it takes.
They got the shot here. They framed the shot quite perfectly, I think. They got Chrystia Freeland with the Ukraine bracelet, and they got Melanie Jolie, the Minister of, I don't know, International War Crimes. Foreign Affairs.
But I bring
My
up
bad.
Natalia now, not just because of what's happening over in Ukraine as we speak, but also because she's key to what we're building here today and tomorrow.
You know, I met Natalia in Nova Scotia last week. She currently lives near Bridgewater, which is a small town of some 9,000 people. For over 50 years, the Michelin tire plant in Bridgewater has been one of the most high-performing facilities in the world. It is thanks to the strength of the workers there that Michelin has just announced major investments to modernize its facilities in order to respond to the growing demand for electric vehicles.
Just so people know, though, I do stand with the people of Ukraine. I think this is the right move. There are lefties who, you know, are lean more towards supporting Russia, but I know I've made some jokes that are in poor taste, but I feel, because I do support the people of Ukraine, and I think Canada and the US should also support them.
Good, stable jobs like the ones at that plant truly count for Natalia and her family, and they also count for our large and small communities.
Scotia meeting with Natalia and others, I met third-generation tire workers at that Michelin plant.
Wow.
And because of the work that we're doing together,
3 generations of Michelin
investments we're
tires.
making for the future, that community will have jobs for generations more to come. And that doesn't just impact
They'll be working in a factory for generations to come.
them in Bridgewater. It means there will continue to be vans delivering food to grocery stores in California and trucks delivering medical supplies to hospitals in Pennsylvania that roll on tires made in Nova Scotia. As it
We get it. You want more immigrants to come to Canada so that they can be part of your working class.
should be. Mr. President, in 1987, Ronald Reagan addressed this House in a final big push towards the first Canada-U.S. Free Trade Agreement. He pointed out that the U.S.
What? Are we doing a shout out to Ronald Reagan right now?
Canadian border was a meeting place rather than a dividing line. More than 30 years later,
Ah, yes, Ronald Reagan, classic fan of brown people coming to North America.
our border is no longer just the place where we meet each other. It's the place where we will meet the moment.
And that's why we're shutting down Roxham Road. Fuck you, brown people.
It's a place where we will meet the future. A future not only with good jobs, but good, stable careers for generations to come. See, we're also joined today by steel workers from Dofasco in Hamilton. One of them is Neil. Why don't you stand up, Neil?
Jeez, how many people are they gonna parade around? We've got white people from all over the world who are working in low income jobs full time.
You see, Neil's mother worked at Dofasco in the 70s. His father worked in the finishing steel area for 37 years. Now, with the investments we've made to help Dofasco phase out coal-fired steelmaking in favor of electric arc, Neil's kids and grandkids and great-grandkids will be able to choose careers making the clean steel the world needs to build EVs, buildings, and bridges. Clean steel will be
Thank goodness.
the backbone for manufacturing in the future, and workers like Neil, from generations past to generations future, will continue to be at the heart of the economy we're building for the middle class.
Okay, so a big theme of this meeting between Justin Trudeau and Joe Biden coming to Canada is that we are transitioning towards an economy that is no longer dependent on China. That is one of the major takeaways from this that has not been talked about yet, and we're probably going to hear more about it in the days to come.
See, economic policy is climate policy, is security policy.
Oh, really? There you go, CC. That's what you were saying. Are we going to hear this a lot?
With growing competition, including from an increasingly assertive China, there's no
there
doubt
we go.
why it matters that we turn to each other now to build up a North American market on everything from semiconductors to solar panel batteries. Mr. President, with the Inflation Reduction Act, you're creating the jobs of today and tomorrow for the middle class in America. And this also means more clients for Canadian critical minerals processors, for our clean energy.
So maybe this is revealing as to why we're being so hard on China. Is this just a transition to an economic viability between the US and Canada and basically everyone who is anti-China right now? Because I've honestly been so hard pressed as to think of a reason as to why we are being so hard on China in Canada and the US. This must be the reason, right? We're moving away from their economy, which we are very dependent on. It explains all the media drips. It really does, doesn't it? Because there's been no other explanation so far as to why these leaks are happening.
Innovators, for our integrated auto workers, for our farmers, growers, and producers, and so many others. It's an example of how we can make progress at home and as partners. Pour soutenir les...
To support good jobs in the economy of the future, Canada
Because,
has one of the
I don't know,
cleanest
it is really
grids in the
shocking
world.
to me because if you think about it, right?
70% of our electricity
China and the US,
already
they basically have everything in the world in common. They might as well just be holding hands and running into the sunset. They're both capitalist countries. even though the US loves to point the finger and say that China is like a communist country, they're really not, you know? They are economically a capitalist country. So the fact that they have everything in common and can't get along is just like shocking. And we have to like make up reasons to not get along in order to drive the economy in the US and Canada, I guess. American wants to remain the power country. That is really what is at play here. It has nothing to do with any ideological differences. It really just is like, well, America has to remain the hegemonic power of the world. And before China gets too strong, we need to transition away.
I met on the Atlantic coast last fall who saw their houses being torn to pieces by Hurricane Fiona. When I think of the people of Lytton, BC, whose town burned because of a wildfire during a record-breaking heat wave, I know that responsibility...
You know, conservatives will cry and be like, oh, well, we have to oppose China because they're communist. It's like, bro, like you drank the red Kool-Aid, I know, but it wasn't communist Kool-Aid, it was liberal Kool-Aid.
As leaders, our people's security is our top.
It contextualizes anti-China sentiment and pro-Ukraine stuff. China wants negotiations, whether legit or not,
And faster.
are friendly with Russia. Yes. I mean, it is, you know,
I remember
concerning.
our discussion in
Right. I guess that is totally true, though, because, like, I let me be clear, too. Like, I'm pro-Ukraine. I think that is the right side of the issue. I'm also anti-China in many ways because I think, yes, they have more authoritarian tendencies than the US or Canada. But that doesn't mean that I'm pro-US imperialism or pro-Canadian brand democracy, quote unquote, which is not really a democracy. You know, you read these articles in the morning and they frame China as an authoritarian country. We don't really have a true democracy here in the US or Canada either.
Of consequence is that our world, our way of living, is facing multiple threats at the same time. That's why security policy is climate policy, is
Oh my God, you were not wrong, Cece.
economic policy.
Security policy is climate policy is economic policy. Why do I have the feeling we're going to be hearing about this for the next 10 years, aren't we?
Because climate change, inflation, war, energy shortages, but also foreign interference, misinformation and disinformation, and constant attacks on...
I agree, Purple Mavis. We never should have transitioned to being completely reliant on China in the first place, right? Especially because that hurts like the working class people in Canada and the US, and it makes it so that like we're competing with like really cheap labor overseas, right? So yeah, I agree that it's good not to be reliant on China, but it's really shocking to see like the manufactured consent like happening in real time right in front of our eyes.
On our values and institutions all compound. Democracies like ours, just like democracies around the world, didn't happen by accident and won't continue without effort.
Okay, so what are we doing, Justin, to improve our democracy? Like you said, right? Remember when we had that last election under first past the post? Right? We're gonna do that to improve our democracy, right? To show that strengthening our democracy, the thing that we love to parade around as what makes us such a great country, we're gonna improve all of those democratic systems, right?
On doit être là,
Oh wait, no. We're just gonna be hard on China.
l'un pour l'autre.
We have to stick together. We have to continue to face down authoritarian threats, both at home and abroad. We have to
Okay, what are the threats at home, Justin?
continue to defend what is right. This is not the time to compromise on our values.
A moment to compromise on our values. This is a moment to double down on them.
Double down on them. I'm Justin.
We must continue to show resilience, perseverance, and strength. Resilience, perseverance, and strength. These are words
At home is the far right Christo fascist. I genuinely think that's what he's talking about here.
that perfectly describe two men who are here us.
Yeah, base Trudeau standing up to authoritarian home policies like forcing pipeline projects through unceded territory. Yeah, exactly. He is famously known to do that, right?
With us today, Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor.
Okay, there they are. There are the Michaels, our golden boys of Canada. Okay. This is just like, okay, this is when I literally am gonna become a conspiracy theorist, because somehow through the CSIS leaks, through the leaks of whoever is doing this propaganda mission against China, the two Michaels literally launched back into relevance a day or two before this, before Joe Biden coming to Canada and being honored in this way. I just cannot for the life of me accept that as a coincidence.
President, when the plane transporting the two Michaels landed on Canadian soil after more than 1,000 days of arbitrary detention in China, Canadians proved that resilience, perseverance, and strength are more than just lofty ideals. They're commitments that drive our actions and shape our character. Canada.
How can we trust CSIS to know how to investigate terrorism when they can't even tell who leaked this info? That is the thing. Like we definitely need more information about these leaks, because where are they coming from and why are they happening? Nobody knows. The only conclusion I can think of is to strengthen American Canadian like economic relations.
Got the two Michaels home, and we did it the right way. Not just
Yes, they are spies. Like I think we can safely say that the two Michaels are spies. That's why they got held as collateral damage. You know, like they are spies, and they get treated as if they're like normal citizens, but they know what they're getting into, you know?
just by respecting the rule of law, but by anchoring ourselves to it. When under great pressure to undermine our commitment to our agreements and treaties and to the rule of law, we did not capitulate. We did not abandon our values. We doubled down, and we rallied our allies against
We doubled town. It's urban sprawl. Oh no.
arbitrary detention, and through that, with your support and your leadership, Mr. President, the rule of law prevailed and the Michaels came home.
Thank goodness. And then everybody clapped. What is so concerning about this too is that like you have conservatives who were basically willing to go to like World War III over these two white boys.
Together with our allies and partners, Canadians and Americans have to remain a source of inspiration to the rest of the world. But above all, we have to keep up the good work.
Right. The US. Everybody around the world loves the US, right?
Every day, we have to do what needs to be done to build a better future for people like Neil and Natalia.
The thing is, they tried. I feel like they tried. Also, good morning, Higsby. They tried to like strengthen Chinese Canadian relationships, and then like they deteriorated for whatever reason. Like they just like let it deteriorate at the behest of the U.S. Right? Like the Donald Trump was like, hey, arrest the Huawei executive. And you can't have Huawei 5G networks anymore. And we're like, okay. And then they took the two Michaels, and then things deteriorated, and like things are worse than they've ever been. And really, we don't really have a choice now, right? Like instead of being in good relationship with China and the US, we've kind of been put in a situation where we're like, okay, well, I guess we need to suck on somebody's teat. And since our relationship with China is so bad, it's going to have to be the US.
Their kids and grandkids.
and we will meet this moment. Mr. President, in your most recent powerful State of the Union, you encouraged the American people to stay optimistic, hopeful, and forward-looking. Well, this is a vision that Canadians...
Our mining companies in this country saw cheaper resources starting to pour out. Saw cheaper resources starting to pour out of China. Well, now the thing is they've found all the resources in like places like Northern Ontario and stuff, right? So they're like, oh, we can actually transition away.
Canadians share too. So let's keep working hard, and together, let's continue to build a better future for our people. Welcome to Canada, my friend, ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States of America, Joe Biden.
What about the non-binary people? You left them out. I can't believe it. I can't believe he marched in the Pride Parade and didn't even include non-binary folks. Oh shit, that's their whatever, the thing they read off? I need to get one of those that just has chat on it.
Good afternoon.
Oh, don't worry. I'm sure Canada and the US starts plenty of shit with like economically unstable countries. In fact, we help them become unstable.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Brandon!
Bonjour, Canada.
Good afternoon, Canada.
They really needed to translate that?
I must tell you, I took 4 years
Bonjour, Canada. Translator, quick. This is your cue.
of French in school. First time I attempted to make a speech in French,
That was for the Americans? Maybe.
I was
That
laughed
would
at.
make sense.
So that's as good as I can get right now. But seriously, thank you very, very much. Speaker of the House of Commons, Speaker of the Senate, members of the Parliament, thank you for the very kind welcome for my wife and I. Prime Minister Trudeau, you were my first meeting with a foreign leader just 1 month after my presidency during the hardest days of COVID-19. We had to make a visit virtual, but since then, we've been all over the world taking on some of the toughest issues our nations have faced in a very long time. I want to thank you for your partnership.
Honestly, fair enough. Like, why would you learn French if you didn't have to? Once I got my grade 9 French accreditation or whatever, I was outie too.
And for your personal friendship. I thank you very much. Jill and I are grateful for the hospitality that you and Sophie have shown us. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to have the opportunity to uphold a tradition carried out by so many of my predecessors addressing the hallowed halls of the Canadian democracy, although this is a different hall. You've done a hell of a job here. This is really beautiful. It's really very beautiful. This is a custom that speaks to the closeness of our relationship.
God damn it. Why is he so damn likable?
Americans and Canadians are two people, two countries, in my view, sharing one heart. It's a personal connection.
We share one heart. Yes, that one colonizer heart that just keeps feeding us generation after generation.
No two nations on earth are bound by such close ties, friendship, family, commerce, and culture. Our labor unions cross borders. So do our sports leagues. Baseball, basketball, hockey. Listen to this, hockey.
Baseball, basketball, hockey, lacrosse, wrestling, javelin, long jump, gymnastics. Just listing off all of the sports. Go sports.
I have to say, I like your teams except the Leafs. I'll tell you why.
Oh my God.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
This is honestly such a good move for him. this is like even the Leafs fans hate the Leafs. Like this is like the unanimous Canadian decision that you could have. It's just like the Leafs suck. It's like, well, they got us there, you know? Like, but it's like the entire house like lost their goddamn minds though.
They beat the Flyers back in January. That's why.
He literally had to like get fed that line for sure.
If I didn't see that, I married a Philly girl. If I didn't say that, I'd be sleeping alone, fellas. I like you, but not that much.
God damn it. And of course, this was like one of the few moments that went viral.
It can be easy.
All we care about in Canada is hockey. We couldn't care less about like whether China is actually interfering with our elections or not. We just care about hockey.
To take a partnership between Canada and the United States as a given. And but when you stop and think about it, it's really a wonder. 5,552-mile-long border, more than 8,800 kilometers, defined by peaceful commerce, trading relationships that measure more than $2.5 billion a day.
And that's why we're shutting down Roxham Road, to make sure that no brown people are getting across that gigantic border.
Every day, hundreds of thousands of people cross the borders going to north and south to work or just to visit, knowing they'll find a warm welcome on the other side of the border.
Will they? Will they, Joe? That's the whole point, is what you've just done by closing Roxham Road, is that they will no longer find a warm welcome.
Americans love Canadians, and that's not hyperbole. It's a data-driven fact. Earlier this week, the Gallup poll did a new poll showing American opinions on different countries in the world. This is a fact.
Americans don't know things about other countries. Are you kidding?
Canada ranked at the very top. 88% favorable rating among Americans.
88%. This is obviously Nazi virtue signaling.
Up from 87 the year before. I take credit for that one point. I
God damn it, Joe. Why you gotta be so likable?
suspect every politician in this room would do a hell of a lot to get those kind of numbers. But there's a reason for it. The same fundamental aspiration reverberate across both our nations, from the Atlantic to the Pacific, to live in freedom. Not just freedom, but live in freedom with dignity. With dignity.
Bruh, we don't have freedom or dignity here. All right, like most people in Canada and the US have to work like one main job and 3 side hustles. You call this dignity?
Relentlessly pursue the possibilities of tomorrow.
Yes, the American dream,
leave,
working 3 side
leave our
hustles
children and our
in
grandchildren
addition to
futures
your
better
60-hour-a-week
because
job.
of our efforts, the people in this room and a similar room in the United States. President Kennedy said, and when he spoke here in 1961, and I quote, he said, "Ours is the unity of equal and independent."
Yeah, thank goodness. Imagine it was like a Trump Poilievre meeting. That would be actually the worst timeline.
Nations, co-tenants of the same continent, heirs of the same legacy, and
Hey, he'll be sharing his Werther's original with you, okay?
fully sovereign associates in the same historic endeavor to preserve freedom for ourselves and for all who wish it. For all who wish it. For more than a century of that historic endeavor, Canada and the United States have had each other's backs. In war and in peace, we have been the stronghold of liberty. Safeguard.
Okay, American imperialism does not liberate the world. Let's just like make that clear, right?
For the fundamental freedoms that give us our lives, literally, give our lives meaning.
I feel like the refugees trying to cross Roxham Road from Afghanistan would maybe have a different opinion there.
We have gladly stepped into the responsibilities of global leadership because we understand all that is at risk for Canadians and Americans alike when freedom is under attack anywhere in the world. Today, our destinies are intertwined and they're inseparable, not because of the inevitability of geography, but because it's a choice we've made again and again. The United States chooses to link our
Okay, like I hate this. I really hate this juxtaposition between like the US and Canada versus like authoritarian China and Russia, right? Like The US is just as bad as Russia on their imperial conquest, right? It's not enough to have some semblance of a democracy at home. When you go and invade the rest of the world and install like authoritarian dictatorships, you do not fundamentally stand for democratic principles.
Our future with Canada, because we know that we'll find no better partner. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. No more reliable ally, no more steady friend. And today I say to you and to all the people of Canada that you will always, always be able to count on the United States of America. As a guarantee.
Oh no. Thank goodness. We can all sleep easy tonight knowing that we will forever be able to count on the US.
Together.
They do produce a lot of funny TV shows, though. I will give them that, you know? I am entertained. If nothing else, I'm entertained.
Together, we have built a partnership that is an incredible advantage to both our nations. That doesn't mean we never disagree, as any two countries will do from time to time.
Exactly, Higsby.
But when we disagree, we solve our differences in friendship and in goodwill, because we both understand our interests are fundamentally aligned.
Unless we disagree with Chinese Canadians, then, you know, we go on unfounded, baseless hate campaigns against them.
As we stand at this inflection point in history, I had a professor who once explained an inflection point as you're going down the highway at 60 miles an hour and you rapidly turn in one direction 5 degrees and never get back on the same path again. But you're on a different course, where the decisions we make in the coming years will determine the course of our world for decades to come. It happens every 5 or 6 generations, but we're at that point. Nothing gives me...
It happens every 5 or 6 generations. And having lived for 5 or 6 generations, I know that we're finally at that point once again.
Greater confidence in the future than knowing Canada and the United States.
Wait, what? Did I just hear like a fart?
Nothing gives me greater confidence in the future than knowing Canada and the United States.
Did you hear that?
Nothing gives me greater confidence in the future than knowing Canada.
That was something. That was. It sounds like a pig snorting. But how can the mic be picking up anything else other than Joe?
In the United States.
He's old, you know. Like he's got body noises that you've never even heard of.
Stand together still. Today.
A chair sliding? No way. That was a body burp for sure.
I'd like to speak a little bit about the future, if I may. A future that's ours to seize. You know, I get criticized at home sometimes for saying that I used to...
Yeah, old man flatulence, it doesn't even have to come from the anus. It can come from anywhere. Like your body, like all your internal organs are just like moving around constantly, doing all sorts of things.
President Obama used to always kid me because I'd always say to him in our private meetings, "A country's never more optimistic than its president or its leaders." Well, I have never been more optimistic in my life about the prospects. I really mean this from the bottom of my heart. We are so well positioned. The future built around our shared responsibilities, prosperity, security, shared values. First, it's a future built on shared prosperity, where Canada and the United States continue to anchor the most competitive, prosperous, and resilient economic region in the world. That's a fact. That's just a fact.
That's a fact.
Where our supply chains are secure and reliable from end to end. Because
no, they're not. Are you kidding? They broke down almost completely during COVID.
We're creating the value at every step right here in North America. We're mining critical minerals, to manufacturing, packaging the most advanced semiconductors in the world, to producing electric vehicles and clean energy technology together. A future where we understand that economic success is not in conflict with the rights and dignity of workers or meeting our responsibilities addressing the climate crisis, but rather those things depend on.
Yeah, our supply chains are great until a few angry truckers block a bridge, and then our entire country almost like collapses. Friendly reminder, Joe Biden shut down railway strike months before the East Palestine train wreck and disaster, and then did nothing to help the residents there. Yes, thank you, Cece. As the hype train conductor, you would know all about that, and that is a great context to add to this.
On us doing that. Depend on us doing that. Factually. Since becoming president, I've been laser focused on rebuilding the U.S. economy from the bottom up and the middle out. Not a
Bottom up, middle out. That sounds like a sex position. I'm not going to lie.
whole lot trickled down from the top down to my dad's kitchen table.
Wait. Did he say trickle down? Oh, wait. Not a lot. Not a whole lot trickled down from the top down. Wait, what the hell is he talking about? What kind of Kama Sutra shit is he going on about here?
Not a whole lot trickled down from the top down to my dad's kitchen table. And by the way, when the middle class does well,
okay, he's saying trickle down doesn't work, right? I hope so. It's hard to make sense of this, but I'm pretty sure he's like not going off about Reaganomics, right?
wealthy do very well. No one gets hurt.
What about those working hard to join the middle class?
The United States made historic, and to the chagrin
I'm gonna work this economy bottom up, middle out, on the kitchen table. That's what I heard too, Higsby.
some of our critics in the press, bipartisan investments in infrastructure, innovation that are already bringing together and delivering concrete benefits to the American people. And we, as we implement these legislative achievements, there are enormous opportunities for Canada and the United States to work even closer together to create good paying jobs in both our countries.
Good paying jobs. Where are they? I got everyone I know on speed dial. Not one of them has a good paying job.
The Inflation Reduction Act, which I admit wasn't bipartisan, but nonetheless, all of a sudden I'm finding we have more adherence, represents the single largest commitment in tackling climate in our history. As a matter of fact, the single largest investment in all of human history. And it's going to spur clean energy.
Yeah, more like tickle down economics, right? Like Handsy Joe is gonna tickle the children. Okay, wait. Okay, trigger warning. Sorry. Got weird.
Investments all over the world. And explicitly includes tax credits for electric vehicles assembled in Canada. Recognizing. There's a simple reason.
All right, conservatives clapping. Trickle nor tickle, yes.
Recognizing how interconnected our auto industries are and our workers are. I am the most pro-union president America's ever had.
Oh my God, Joe. You know what's really sad about this? I forgot to pull this up, but Jagmeet Singh basically bought into this rhetoric on Twitter. Let me pull it up here. Union Twitter. Like, this was really disappointing. God damn it, I can't find it now, of course. But basically, Jagmeet Singh bought into this and was like, thank you, Joe. Like, we're going to keep working for unions in Canada and the US. Let me find it.
No. And I speak to a hell of a lot of Canadian union members.
Yeah. Why I brought up East Palestine, greatest union president ever. Yeah. That's pretty close to true, unfortunately. Okay, yeah, you might be right there.
Look, this is a model for future cooperation, with both our nations investing at home to increase the strength of our industrial bases, making sure the products manufactured in
That's so sad.
North America are not only manufactured, but they're the best in the world. You know, we're going to amplify our shared commitment, climate action, while growing our economies. If I could just stop for just a second and say, you know, when I announced for president, I was always known as one of those kind of green Democrats, and Republicans used to be the same in my place. Well, guess what? I didn't announce my
Okay, yeah, here it is. Pleasure to meet you, President of the White House. Your administration has worked to create good union jobs and gone after big corporations to lower costs for workers. In Canada, New Democrats will continue to push for similar investments to help working people. You know, like, it just kind of feels like a stab in the back when Jagmeet Singh does stuff like this, you know? Like, you're supposed to actually help unions, not just virtue signal that If you're gonna do what Joe Biden is doing, then we're absolutely screwed.
my environmental plan, and I was getting beat up.
I've trashed unions the least, basically.
Why is Biden all of a sudden changing? Well, the reason is I brought all the unions together. I brought them into the White House, not a joke, because they all said we're going to lose our jobs. And I pointed out, guess what?
What, Joe? Tell us.
Single solitary initiative required to deal with the environment.
Why is he whispering? I've already turned the volume at 250%.
Creates union jobs, creates thousands of jobs, thousands of jobs.
Green New Deal. Let's go.
For example, I met with the IBW and pointed out we're going to build 5,500 electric charging stations.
We're really we're gonna electric car our way into the future. We're doing nothing about capitalism or the environment. Let's face it.
Who builds them? Union workers. So look, we're coordinating the standard for new
My hair's going on when Joe starts whispering into my ears like this.
electric vehicles and charging stations. So Americans and Canadians can continue to easily cross the border without ever hitting a snag in their American or Canadian built automobiles, zero emission vehicles. Moreover, we're going to
Zero emission vehicles.
build batteries and technologies that go into those vehicles together. We've learned the hard way during the pandemic.
Yes, policy ASMR. We need that.
When we rely on just-in-time supply chains that circle the globe, there are significant vulnerabilities to disruptions and delays. And it drives up costs here at home, both Canada and the United States. But there's a better way. Our nations are blessed
The American
with incredible
way.
natural resources. Canada in particular has large quantities of critical minerals that are essential for our clean energy future, for the world's clean energy future.
Yeah. What if we just exploited the environment to save the environment?
And I believe we have an incredible opportunity to work together so Canada and the United States can source and supply here in North America everything we need for reliable and resilient supply chains. Folks,
Okay, again, the major takeaway from all this is moving away from China. It still just does seem like way too big of a coincidence to me that all of this anti-China leaks came out right before Joe Biden showed up to tell us that don't worry, you can count on America.
to incentivize American and Canadian companies to responsibly mine and process critical minerals needed for electric vehicles and stationary storage batteries. We're also building integrated supply chains for our semiconductors, a critical computer chip
Okay,
that I might
yes.
note was invented in America, and then we lost control of it. We not only control it, we lost producing them. And the power
And that's why we need to give weapons of mass destruction to Taiwan.
of so much of our daily lives. The IBM plant in Bromont, Quebec, is the largest semiconductor packaging and testing facility in North America. Chips made in Vermont in upstate New York are shipped to Bromont to be packaged in electronic components. But now Bromont is expanding with the support of the Canadian government. And there's going to be a lot more work to do thanks to the Bipartisan Chips and Science Act I signed into law last year. Companies are breaking ground for new semiconductor plants across the United States, representing billions of dollars in new investments in American high-tech manufacturing.
Ooh, billions.
12 billion.
All right, they don't want our water. They've already got our water because they've got us in their back pockets. We're basically the 51st state of America. Let's face it. Say it again. Our country is 3 or 4 mining companies in a trench coat. This is true. Luckily, we have actually kind of done some progress in making sure that it's harder to mine our resources. That's the biggest complaint of these major companies, is that we have too much red tape. They're trying really hard to destroy that red tape. Hey, Joe, are you going to ask for mining rights for the nations whose land you're going to mine? They are going to ask, but they're not going to ask the entire nation. They're just going to ask one guy who they've got on payroll. And if he says yes, then that's enough consultation.
$1 billion from Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company in Arizona, $20 billion in counting for Intel in Ohio, $100 billion in New York, the single largest investment of its kind ever in the world. And chips began to roll off these new production lines in America. A lot of
Know what we could do instead of selling people cars? Strengthening our public transportation infrastructure.
They're going to be coming to Canada to be packaged. And that's a lot of jobs, good paying jobs. And today I'm also making available
Think of the French.
through the defense.
That's actually the only reason I want to do it, is so that we can take away mimes from the French.
Production Act, $50 million to incentivize more U.S. and Canadian companies to invest in packaging semiconductors and printed circuit boards. Look, that brings me to a second pillar of our future. Because of our shared prosperity is deeply connected to our shared security.
Geez, this man does need a glass of water. Quick. Quick, give the Americans our water. He's looking thirsty.
In the past years have proven that Canada and the United States are not insulated from the challenges that impact the rest of the world. The world needs Canada and the United States working together with our partners around the world to rally strong and effective global action. Nowhere is that more
We should invade them. We should do our number one export, democracy.
obvious than our united response to Russia's brutal aggression against Ukraine. We've stood together. We've stood together to defend sovereignty, to defend democracy, to defend freedom for ourselves and all who wish it. As I told President Zelensky, who I visited with in Kyiv last month, people all over the world are with the brave people of Ukraine. And you have to ask yourself, aren't you amazed of the personal bravery they're showing? It's incredible. It's incredible. Folks, I know there's a large Ukrainian diaspora here in Canada, not just the lovely lady we were all introduced to a moment ago, who feel the same
The lovely lady whose name I've already forgotten.
way. Canada and the United States, together with a coalition of 50 nations we've jointly worked to put together, are making sure that Ukraine can defend itself. We're supplying air defense systems, artillery systems, ammunition, armored vehicles, tanks.
Freedom and democracy for all who wish it, unless they cross the border illegally. Yes, exactly.
And so much more. Tens of billions of dollars so far. Together with our
Unless they cross the border, which we're making it even harder to do legally. So they're going to be pushed out into doing it illegally, and then we're going to just deport them back to where they came from.
G7 partners were imposing significant cost on Russia as well, denying Russia critical inputs
That's fair.
to its war machine. We're independently holding Russia accountable for the war crimes and crimes against humanity that Russia has committed and continues to commit as I speak today.
That's
in
right.
Canada and America alike.
Only America's allowed to commit war crimes on that level, okay? That's their thing.
Have opened their arms to Ukrainian refugees. Our people know well the high price of freedom. Our peace tower, your peace tower, stands testament to the sacrifices of more than 60,000 brave Canadians.
Wow, getting ahead of yourself, Joe. That's our peace tower, okay? It's not your peace tower yet, all right? Give it 50 years, maybe it will be yours.
Who perished in World War I, forever making this nation the champion of liberty. In the words of a Canadian poet, Lieutenant Colonel John McCree, still called to us from Flanders Field, echoing their charge through the ages. And I quote it.
We're doing the patriotic wartime
thing. To you, from failing hands, we throw the torch to you to hold it high. So today, let's once more affirm
Butchered it. Absolutely butchered. One of the most famous poems.
that we're going to keep that torch of liberty burning brightly and support the Ukrainian people. We will not waver.
Yeah, but not Haitian and Afghan refugees. I know. But Ukrainian people are white. Yeah, more war. Everybody clapped.
Putin was certain he would have been able to break NATO by now. He was certain of that. But guess what? His lust for land and power.
He's like, the writers dug deep and Googled what are the 5 most popular things in Canada. French, hockey, Remembrance Day,
failed us for. Ukrainian people love
maple
their
syrup
country
and Beaver's
prevail.
Necks, true.
In the face of President Putin's aggression against Ukraine, Canada and the United States are also making clear our commitment to our NATO allies. We'll keep our alliance strong and united. We'll defend every inch of NATO territory. An attack against one is an attack against all.
That is what NATO does stand for. If anyone attacks a NATO country, it will be World War III.
And as we look forward to the 75th anniversary of NATO next year, Canada and the United States share a responsibility and a commitment to make sure NATO can deter any threat, defend against any aggression from any.
Yep, NATO, making sure socialism doesn't get a foothold for 75 years.
Anyone. That's the bedrock of the security of both our nations. Canada and the United States are not only partners in transatlantic security, we are Pacific nations as well. Earlier this month, we held our first U.S.-Canadian Indo-Pacific dialogue to deepen our cooperation in the vital region to promote an Indo-Pacific that is free and open, prosperous and secure. We're also an Arctic nation. We both recognize
the only aliens NATO can protect us from are the quote-unquote illegal aliens, okay?
the critical importance of this region to our collective security and the interest of other nations all of a sudden in the Arctic. We're working in close coordination to steward and protect the northernmost reaches of our world. And we are American nations, deeply invested in ensuring that the Western Hemisphere is peaceful, prosperous, democratic, and secure. And that's
What about the Eastern Hemisphere?
starts with our commitment to defending our people and our own sovereign territory.
We're making sure the Western Hemisphere is peaceful while doing proxy wars in the East. Thank goodness.
NORAD is the only binational military command in the world. NORAD is the only binational military command in the world.
Wow.
Yet another way
That's just because we're like America's bitch. Like, that's not nothing to brag about here.
in which our partnership is exceptional. It is an incredible symbol of the faith we have in one another and the trust we place in each other's capabilities. Soon, NORAD will have a new next generation over-the-horizon radars to enhance
Got to try and take it easy till I get back to normal.
Hello, really unfriendly. Your name, like, immediately kind of raises the alarm bells, but we'll give you a shot.
warning capacity, upgraded undersea surveillance systems, modernized infrastructure that's necessary to host the most advanced aircraft. And I'm looking forward to continuing to work in close partnership with Canada as we deliver on these needs so that our people can
Yeah, hovers over ban button. Like, really unfriendly has joined the chat. Hovers over ban button, waiting for them to say the first thing.
continue to rest soundly, knowing NORAD is in the watch. Folks,
We need NORAD in chat, all right? We're worried about external threats.
we are. We're also coordinating closely to take on the human security challenges throughout the region. We're working in partnership with the people of Haiti to try to find ways to provide security, humanitarian assistance, and to help strengthen Haiti's stability.
Yes. America, always known to strengthen the stability of crumbling countries.
Tackling the scourge of synthetic drugs that are devastating
Never responsible for them crumbling, though.
Canada and American communities, particularly our young people. Fentanyl is a killer.
I'm pretty sure they've committed 100,000 or 100 million. I don't know. They're giving money to the police in Haiti to like try to restore law and order. Good luck with that.
Almost everyone knows someone who has been affected by this, lost a child or lost a friend. Canada and the United States are working closely with our partner Mexico to attack this problem at every stage. From the precursor chemical shipped from overseas
Okay, but the problem is what? Mexican people, like, stop attacking the problem. We don't like your idea of what the problem is.
to the powders, to the pills, to the traffickers, moving into all of our countries. And we all know synthetic opioid epidemic has its roots around the globe, not just here. So today we're announcing a commitment to build a new global coalition of like-minded countries led by Canada and the United States to tackle this crisis. This is about public health. It's about public health.
Yes. What if instead of having one wall, we had two walls? One wall wasn't enough.
It's about
From the
public health, our economic
windows.
futures, our national security. We're also working together to address the record levels of migration in the hemisphere. The Los Angeles Declaration on Migration and Protection, which the United States and Canada signed last
Talking about immigration in terms of public health is fashy as fuck. True, CC. That is not wrong.
June, along with 19 other nations, represents an integrated new approach to the migration challenge, which is real. One that unites humane policies that both secure borders and support people. In the United States, we're expanding legal pathways for migration.
I think like I'm getting sleepy. I feel like Joe's getting sleepy. Chat, I hope you're wide awake. I did have like 2 cups of coffee in addition to my regular full pot of coffee just to try to stay awake through Sleepy Joe here.
To seek safety and on a humanitarian basis, while discouraging unlawful migration that feeds exploitation and human trafficking. So today, I applaud
That's my
China for
secret,
stepping up.
Jack.
Excuse me, I applaud Canada.
Oh, wait, he just said I applaud China by accident?
While discouraging unlawful migration that feeds exploitation and human trafficking. So today, I applaud China for stepping.
Oh my goodness, we need to edit this so it's like today I applaud China, and then it cuts to everyone clapping in the house.
No, excuse me, I applaud Canada. You can tell what I'm thinking. About
Sus.
China, I won't get into that yet. I applaud Canada for stepping up with similar programs, opening new legal pathways for 1,500 migrants to come to Canada from countries in the Western Hemisphere. At the same time, the United
I mean, there was no good alternative.
States and Canada will work together to discourage unlawful border crossings and
Maybe Biden is the leaker. That's right. Biden is the one doing the slow drip out of CSIS.
fully implement and the updated Safe Third Country Agreement.
Oh my goodness. Get the man some Canadian water. Yeah, unfortunately, the way I view politics is a lesser of two evils game. You know, like even if we were to vote for...
That means I can lie here and relax while my strength comes back to me.
Even if we were to vote for Oi Polloi, who just subscribed for the 3rd month in a row, and they became the new Prime Minister of Canada, it would still be a really difficult time for them, you know? So, you know, Sleepy Joe is the lesser of two evils, just like Jagmeet Singh might be the lesser of several evils, but they would still be the same old Canada, you know?
Finally, as we advance our shared prosperity and security, we must never lose sight of our shared.
Yeah, I know, but like you have 3, but then you only have 2, and then you know it's the lesser of evils. Okay, it doesn't really matter how many there are, but it's constantly like, okay, what are the lesser of two evils here? And then okay, now there's always a second evil, you know, who is trying to like take off the top evil.
Shared values, because our values literally the linchpin holding everything else together. Welcoming refugees and seeking asylum seekers is a part of who Canadians and Americans are. In fact, the United States recently launched a new private sponsorship program for refugees. We call it Welcome Corps.
Oh, thank goodness.
Which draws on Canadians' decades of leadership in refugee resettlement, where both countries build upon the nation-to-nation relationship with Native Americans and First Nations. We've both been influenced and strengthened by the contributions of generations of immigrants. We believe to our core
I mean, I like to hear him say nation to nation. That's nice. If only it was real, though.
that every single person deserves to live in dignity, safety, and rise as high as their dreams can carry them. We strive to defend human rights, to advance equality and gender equality, to pursue justice, and uphold the rule of law. I want to note the outstanding work Canada has done to build a coalition of nearly 70 countries endorsing the Declaration Against Arbitrary Detention and State-to-State Relations.
Oh, this is all a sham.
It's not only a statement of values. Our citizens are not bargaining chips. They're not diplomatic leverage. They're human beings with lives and families that must be respected.
And that's why we're closing down Roxham Road. Just say it already.
Very glad to see the two Michaels. The two Michaels, Michael Starvo and Michael Kovrin. They're safely back at their...
Wait, did he get the names right?
Michael Stravo, and
Michael Stravo.
Kovrin.
Michael Kovrin. Wait, what are their real names? It's Kovrig, right? Two Michaels. Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor. Right? Yeah, Dr. Shivago. He butchered their names. Bro, like those were the only two names you had to remember in this whole thing. I mean, it's fair enough. Like just call them the two Michaels. Nobody cares about their individual identity. We need it again.
Michael Stravo.
Michael Stravo.
And Michael Kovrin.
And Michael Kovrin. Their real names are Michael Spavor and Michael Kovrig. But I mean, in Biden's defense, nobody cares.
They're safely back to their families.
They're safely back with their families, the Spavovs and the Chivagos.
After more than 1,000 days.
I love that he's like caring that he cares about this so much after just completely butchering their names.
1,000 days.
And he gets to read them off of a teleprompter as well.
In detention. If my mother were here, she'd say, God bless you both. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for having the opportunity to meet you earlier. You know, the incredible diversity that defines each of our nations.
It's incredible diversity. We got one Michael, and we got two Michaels, and they're two different people. An incredible diversity.
Is our strength. And the Prime Minister Trudeau and I know this is a belief that you and I share. We both build a...
That is true, really unfriendly. But the way to get around Twitch ads is to subscribe to the channel using your Amazon Prime Gaming that's connected to your Twitch account, which you can do right now for free.
Administrations that look like America and look like Canada. I'm very proud. I'm very proud that both of us have cabinets that are 50% women.
All right, here we go. Here we go, Joe.
Even if you don't agree, guys, I'd stand up.
Why wouldn't you stand up? So, I mean, like, as many people have pointed out, you know, we love to, like, virtue signal. And it's not, like, yeah, sure, we have 50% women in our cabinet, but the way Justin Trudeau used a lot of the women, and specifically women of color, in his cabinet was a form of tokenism. So sure, we have achieved some sense of, you know, equality in our politics, but you know how that does not reflect is through the policies and the laws that we make. So we have achieved some sense of equality, but it hasn't really helped us, for example, close the wage gap between men and women. So this, like, as much as this was a great moment for Joe Biden, and in so much as that it went viral, you know, it is just virtue signaling. It is just tokenism.
I took the lesson from you, because the bottom line is this: we make it easier for historically underrepresented, underserved communities.
I mean, really unfriendly. I think you're missing the point. Is that it's the men who are not qualified, and they get the jobs anyways. Like, so, the fact that there's like a 50-50 split is like a good thing. But you know, it's not like our entire cabinets or whatever are representative of the people in Canada.
Is to dream, to create, to succeed. We build a better future for all our people. So let's continue the work. Where there are no barriers, things look better. Where there are barriers to equal opportunity, we got to tear them down.
Well, you don't think sexism is bad? All right, then probably time for you to go away.
Where inequity stifles potential,
Thank you, Higsby.
Where we unleash the full power of our people, where injustice holds sway, let's insist on justice being done. Those are the shared values that imbue all of our efforts.
Did he? I don't think he subbed, did he? I don't think so.
Our very democracy, our vitality, and our vibrancy. You know,
If he did, even better though. We should ban everyone who subs.
it's what seems that drives us all. Some places and some persons are kind of forgetting what the essence of democracy is. We have to reach, so what allows us to reach beyond the horizon. Let me close with this. The year after President Kennedy spoke in Canada's Parliament, he delivered a famous speech at Rice University, issuing a challenge for Americans to go to the moon in a decade's time. You remember what he said? You probably do, because we had to learn it when we were in school. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do other things, not because it's easy, but because they're
Yeah, they got banned for, well, they said like sexism is good. So, I mean, that's the end of that, you know?
hard. Because that challenge is one
They were one of the conservatives who didn't stand. So they got banned.
that we are willing to accept, one that we're unwilling to postpone.
Dark Brandon
and
banned them
one
from
which
chat.
we will win. That speech
We did give him a fair
tapped into
chance, you know?
something deep
It
in America's
happens.
character.
Trolls are gonna
Something
troll.
powerful, a belief that we can do big things. Hold
Big
a second,
things.
Just think about it. Turn on the television the last 2 years, whether it's in your country or mine. After 2 years of COVID,
It's true.
people began to wonder, can we still do big things? Big things.
Can we still do big things?
Began to wonder, can we still do big things? Big things.
Come on, there's so many memes in this speech.
Wonder, can we still do big things? Big things.
Big things.
We
Joe Biden like them things,
sure
yo.
in hell can. That confidence,
Holy shit.
I believe it with every fiber in my being. That confidence can make the most audacious dreams reality. And less than 7 years after Kennedy's speech, the entire
I got dreams of things, y'all.
world watched humanity left its first footprints on those further shores. It inspired a generation.
Why did he get loud all of a sudden? I've been trying to turn this guy's mic up the whole time, and now he's talking way too loud.
It spurred much of the technology advancement which now enriches our daily lives. Today, our world once more stands at the cusp of breakthroughs and possibilities that have never before even been dreamt of.
That time-released Adderall just kicked in.
And Canada and the United States are leading and will continue to lead the way. In just a few days,
Of course, conservatives have no problem clapping for shit like this.
in just a few days, NASA's going to announce an international team of astronauts who will crew.
What? What did he say?
NASA's going to announce an international team of astronauts who will crew
NASA's going to announce an international team of astronauts.
the Artemis II mission, the first human voyage to the moon since Apollo mission ended more than 50 years ago, will consist of 3 Americans and 1 Canadian.
Sounds about right.
We choose to return to the moon
How many Russians?
together. Together we'll return to the moon.
This is too funny. Out of context, this would be hilarious. Together we'll return to the moon.
Moon together. We choose to return to the moon together.
We choose to return to the moon together.
Together we'll return to the moon.
Together we'll return to the moon.
And from there, we look forward to Mars and to the limitless possibilities that lie beyond. And here on Earth,
This literally sounds unhinged. Like, out of context, this is unhinged. And the limitless possibilities that lie beyond here on Earth.
our children who watch that flight are going to learn the names of those new pioneers. They'll be the ones who carry us into the future we hope to build. The Artemis
Space, the final frontier of American imperialism.
generation. Ladies and gentlemen, we're living in an age of possibilities. Xi Jinping asked me in the Tibetan Plateau, could I define America? And I could have said the same thing if he asked about Canada. I said, yes, one word. And I mean it, one word.
We're going to use electric cars to get to the moon, y'all. Don't worry.
Possibilities. Nothing is beyond our capacity. We can do anything. We have to never forget. We must never doubt our capacity.
What happened? I swear to you, he has time release Adderall. Like this whole thing, like up to like 45 minutes was sleepy as fuck. And then he just started going in. He started going in. We're going to the moon.
Canada and the United States can do big things. We stand together.
We got big things.
Do them together. Rise together.
Look, everybody got, like, they're allowed to just get out of their seat and, like, they're getting around Joe Biden like it's like 8 miles about to go down. And he's about to rip into the opposing team like freestyle.
We're going to write the future together. I promise you. God bless you all and may God protect our troops. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
God, yes. God protect the United Troops of Canada. Jesus, Joe, he caught fire at the end. We're going to the moon, y'all. We are going to the moon. Our next class field trip, we're getting in the bus, and Miss Frizzle, aka Dr. Jill Biden, is going to be taking us to the moon together, all right? We are taking it all the way to the motherfucking moon. What do our troops need protecting from right now? COVID. True. That is true. I'm pretty sure they have mandatory vaccination though. So I think they're all right. This was likely emotional for anyone that had to deal with Trump in the past. This is true, I guess. I feel like a lot of people get emotional about this stuff. We call those people liberals. Other than that, other than each other, true. Yes, balloons. Protect the troops from Chinese balloons, weather balloons. And they have sick days, yes. Unlike the vast majority of us who don't have protection from any of these things, the U.S. military and the Canadian military have like supreme advantages when it comes to accessing our resources. So, anyways, I thought it was, at the end of the day, it was an entertaining speech. A lot of viral moments. I feel like there's like 10 things there that I could cut up into like YouTube stories or whatever it's called, YouTube shorts. And it's going to be good. Vote Jugmeat. He will make every other day a sick day. I see what you did there. Lex. All right. So some great moments that got taken away from this, in addition to Jugmeat kind of being a stooge for like the American unions or lack thereof, we also had, where did it go? I thought I got all of these ready. We had what's his face, slow clapping, Andrew Scheer. I forget why, but apparently a lot of the people are comparing this to the Nancy Pelosi clap. Why does he clap like this? Like he clearly loves Joe Biden. Like a conservative Canadian is like a liberal American. They're completely politically aligned. And then to like just give this slow clap. I thought I had a even better version of this. Where's the what's his face version? Oh yeah, the Mark Garrettson version I think is good. You think Andrew would have had a tad more enthusiasm for a fellow American citizen. Mark Garrettson, like obviously the most annoying liberal on all of Twitter, but this was, let's face it, this was a roast. America. And we also had what's his face, Pierre Poilievre, got in on some of this fervor. Where did it go? I thought I queued all of these up. I probably just put them in like different tabs. Oh, here we go. And yeah, we had the weird exchange also from Pierre Poilievre and Joe Biden. Very strange.
Mr. President Pierre Poilievre.
Mr. President Pierre Poilievre.
Leader of His Majesty's loyal opposition.
Leader of His Majesty's loyal opposition.
Absolutely. We believe
Loyal opposition.
That opposition is an act of loyalty in our system.
What a nerd.
We do too, unfortunately.
What a freaking nerd. Okay, so I don't know. This is like embarrassingly, but you know, conservatives will love this. They'll just like, I mean, it's like PP, you know, daddy can do no wrong when it comes to PP. So if it was Justin Trudeau saying that exact same shit, conservatives would have lost their goddamn mind. But since it's Pierre Poilievre, you know, it's like they're like riding his dick. Like what you never want is to be in a dick riding contest when it's a Pierre Poilievre conservative on the opposing team. That is a battle that you cannot lose. Sorry, wait, a battle you cannot win.